Hi everyone, so super easy Monday as normal. Skunk and Badger chapter 8 we're on now. This is like, I know I said that the last chapter was really pivotal because it introduced Stoat's character, but in this chapter you have like the pivotal moment in the book that's going to change absolutely everything and then kind of set up like the last couple of chapters of the story. So I'm really excited to share this with you. Chapter 8. The next morning, voices on the back porch stirred Badger from sleep. First came a low voice, Skunk's voice, followed by a short reply. Badger clutched his pillow and muttered, too early for social calls. Then the low voice spoke and Badger caught the cool swagger. It reminded him of someone recent, someone not known long. He rooted sluggishly through his memory and remembered the stoat. Irritating, too self-assured. Yes, that's it. Badger sighed, pulled up the covers and began to drift off. Skunk's voice raised in pitch. It grew higher and louder. The pieces dropped into place. Speedy stoat delivery stoat. Chickens in the brownstone. Skunk, friend of chickens. Badger lifted an ear from the pillow and detected Skunk's tone. Defensive, definitely defensive. Skunk was a skunk. When skunks got defensive, Badger sat up. No! Badger yelled as he bolted out of his bedroom door. Chickens scattered in every direction. No! Yelled Badger as he careened down the stairs and through the hallway to the back door. He tossed the door open. Badger saw Skunk with his teeth bared, lips folded back and tail upright. No! Later, Badger would reflect that flying towards Skunk had not been the best strategy, particularly when he glimpsed the back end of the stoat sprinting off in the opposite direction, away. Also, how had he missed the hiss of vaporization? But never mind yelling no, Badger pushed off limbs, outstretched, flying towards Skunk. Time slowed. The flight seemed to go on forever. Badger saw Skunk notice him and step aside. Then Badger hit the spray. And though he was no stranger to the smell of skunk, Badger had never been showered in it. So here you can see Badger leaping towards the skunk and getting sprayed with nasty skunk stuff. And this was a showering in an oily stink, a stink that stuck. It glazed his snout, his furry face, the fine hairs of his eyebrows. Badger balled up and dropped and skidded to a stop, a full stop. Badger lay on the porch, coughing, gasping for one gulp of clean air. It was not forthcoming. His eyes watered, his snout quivered and ran. Badger wiped at them with his furry forearm, but to no avail. Everything watered. I am a spigot, he thought, as he pressed his forearm to his snout and scraped himself into a seated position. Next to him, Skunk leaned over, his paws on his knees, breathing heavily. Then Skunk straightened up and stretched. He rolled his neck one way, then the other. Snout to forearm, Badger gawked. Skunk exhibited no ill effects, not one. Skunk combed through his stripe with two claws as he gazed across the backyard to the alley beyond. He shook out his limbs, turned to Badger and whispered, I would not like to meet Stoat again. Then a smile spread across his face. Did you see that atomization, Badger? Impressive. Bye-bye, Stoat. Ha. Skunk closed his eyes and danced, pumping his paws in the air. Badger coughed into his forearm. All clear, chickens. The stoat is gone. The stoat turned and ran. Yes, she did. Yes, she did. Badger looked up and saw Skunk at the back door. From the kitchen came a sound remarkably similar to a sound of a standing ovation. Badger knew it was only the clapping of wings as 100 chickens gathered. Still, Badger winced. He wiped his nose in fury on his now sodden forearm. Skunk shut the door. He met Badger's gaze with a wide smile and shrugged. There's always a lingering aroma, but look at how well it works. Everything is okay now, Badger. Skunk dusted off his paws. I'm going to need a long nap. A-okay. Lingering aroma. Time for a nap. The stink hung in the air, blossoming in every direction. It was rotten eggs, old coffee and mushroomy stuck to the bottom of the rubbish goo. It burned like chili peppers. It puckered like lemons. Badger was steeped in it. He had flown through it and now he was carrying it. You have some explaining to do, Badger growled. Skunk flinched. He looked at Badger in surprise. I will see to the chickens, he said quickly. In he went, the door slammed shut. Badger was alone. Badger sat in a funk and stewed. Finally, he pulled himself off the porch floorboards and followed Skunk into the brownstone. He clenched at the first available dish towel and blew his snout in it. Then he mopped himself up, pressed the towel over his snout and noticed the silence in the kitchen. He looked up. The kitchen did not easily accommodate 100 chickens. The birds had bunched. One deluge of chickens, and behold, feathered life! Badger saw not a kitchen, but a chicken biome of the tropical chicken forest sort. Every surface burst forth in feathers. Cabinetry quilled. Right angles went soft and blowy. But this wasn't plant, this was animal. Now the chicken biome observed Badger with each of its 200 eyes. A sound caught his attention. Drip, drip, drip. Badger followed the sound and saw Skunk standing at the counter holding a ladle. A bowl of batter and a square gadget rested on the counter next to him. The gadget's red light blinked. A glop of something batterish dropped from the ladle. Drip. Eyes on Skunk, Badger stepped to the counter. Skunk looked over his shoulder and gave a start. Oh, Badger, there you are. Right there. Good morning. No, not good, but it is morning. That is true. Batter spooled to the countertop. Drip. Would you like a waffle? We are eating waffles. Skunk flashed Badger a tiny smile. A trio of speckled hens stepped out of the understory. Badger saw a plate of waffles on the floor. One of the hens kicked a waffle in Badger's direction. The waffles skittered off the plate. Bock. The hen eyed him. Skunk hurriedly retrieved the waffle. I will make you a fresh waffle. The chickens have been picking at their waffles this morning, which is understandable given the circumstances. Understandable? Badger huffed into his dish towel and noticed the air was filled with underfeathers. There had been a chicken sleepover. Now chickens and chicken whatsits covered the kitchen. Batter was dripping. Then Badger got a whiff of himself and nearly passed out. Mid-swoon, Badger looked into the corner and saw it. Rocket potato. You owe me an apology, Badger snarled. Skunk shook his head. Apologise? Why? Badger, I do not think I was the problem. He gestured towards the porch. That speedy stoat delivery stoat was in our back garden this morning. I told that stoat she was most unwelcome. I told her that delivering and leaving was her job, but she would not go away. She had been there all night. Then she came to her pointy-toothed point. She said she would leave if I give her a chicken. Give her a chicken? Give her? Chickens are their own chickens. No one gives a chicken. Bok, 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 exclaimed 4 bantam hens stalking the floor. You're welcome, Skunk whispered. Badger waved his paws and the damp dish towel with them. No, this will not do. You have soiled my place of work, defiled it, mucked it all up. You sprayed in my brownstone. Skunk frowned up at Badger. Technically, it is Aunt Lulu's brownstone, and I did not spray in the brownstone. I sprayed on the back porch, and there was a brisk breeze. You sprayed. Everyone knows that skunk spray is despicable, deplorable, vile. You could have woken me up. Why didn't you wake me up? I was not afraid of a tiny stoat. Badger glowered down at Skunk. Skunk's tail began twitching back and forth like a whip. He took a step towards Badger. Okay, let me tell you how it was. This morning I told myself, Skunk, Badger is right. You have filled up on fears. A speedy stoat delivery stoat is a stoat with a job to do. The stoat will not be in the back garden, but I could not let the chickens go home until I made sure the stoat was gone. So I went outside by myself to take a look. By myself. And Badger, it is too late to wake up badgers when you are standing in front of a stoat. Badger felt crowded by feathery puffs, beaks and peeking eyes. Skunk continued, his eyes on fire. Then Miss Pointy-Tooth moved towards me. I told the stoat to stop. I gave her a good look at my tail. Believe me, she knew what was coming. And for the record, spraying is not so bad when you consider that I left the stoat smelly but unharmed. The stoat would not have been so nice to me. I would be lucky to get away at all. So yes, the brownstone smells, and yes, you smell, Badger, but our guests are safe. I'm safe, and that stoat is now a smarter stoat. I am sorry for the smell, Badger. It will pass. Rumbled through Badger's throat as he realised that was his apology. But no one listened. The chickens broke into squawks. They flapped up off the floor, raising a cloud of chicken dander. It all sounded suspiciously like a second round of applause. You sprayed me, Badger said. That was not my fault. You leapt, Skunk replied. Badger ground his teeth, put the dishcloth to his dribbling eyes and muttered, and I wonder why no one wants to live with them. Skunks are the true nuisance animal. The kitchen went quiet. Skunk let out a, huh. When he spoke, it was with a weak voice. Did you call me a nuisance animal? Badger fidgeted. But what about his apology? Badger said nothing. He spotted the little orange hen. She appeared to be avoiding Badger's gaze. Skunk squinted at Badger and blinked, as if the sight scolded. Then Skunk began to do some sort of maths on his claws. Despicable, deplorable, vile, he mumbled and put out 3 claws. Spoiling, defiling, he put up another 2 claws. Nuisance animal, he said. Now 6 claws on 2 paws were out. Skunks lumped together in a generality. Also other insults. Skunk stared at his paws. 8 claws, he mumbled. His shoulders drooped. Skunk looked up at Badger and nodded. You think I'm vermin? You think the world would be better off without skunks? Badger shook his head. Didn't say that. You did. I added it up. Nuisance, defiling, spoiling, despicable, deplorable, vile, and you said skunks with an S. General insults too. That adds up to a definition of vermin, said Skunk. He nodded his head vigorously. I would not say that. But Skunk no longer appeared to hear him. There's only one thing to be done, Skunk said as he left the room. Bok, said the Jersey giant. Skunk's one thing did not take long. In a blow of the snout and a wipe of the eyes on a dish towel, it was done. Skunk stood in the kitchen. In one paw was a small red suitcase tied shut with twine. With the other he gave Badger his key. Badger took it. Skunk shook Badger's paw. It was nice to meet you. I had heard so much about you from Aunt Lulu. Without thinking, Badger said the polite thing to say. Maybe we'll meet another time. Skunk shook his head and looked away. I doubt it. Animals that do not like skunks really do not like skunks. Not everyone wants a skunk. Oh, goodbye, said Badger. Skunk hung his head. Bye. The chickens left with Skunk. Badger watched from the porch. There, at the front, was Skunk, a small black and white animal holding a red suitcase tied up with twine. Behind him followed the chickens, filling the alleyway with tufts and red wattles, yellow legs and flaps of wings. Badger thought, isn't this what you wanted? Oh, I feel a bit sad. I feel quite emotional. So the skunk has gone. Badger has been really mean to the skunk. And when we are back in school next week, we will read chapter 9 on the Monday. Bye for now.